If there is one company that should have absolutely won social media, and especially messaging, it is Google. Think about it, they have all of the necessary ingredients for success. Most people have a Google account already. Many of them sync their contacts with Google from Android and Gmail, so Google knows their social network, and the company can push new services as default apps on Android, tie them in with Gmail and YouTube on the web, the Google Suite for Business, and so on. They're even one of the only companies that knows how to build internet services at really large scale, as well as how to build a really great advertisement platform, the lifeblood of almost all social app businesses. And yet they have consistently failed in this category. They have no social media to speak of, and their messaging apps get rebooted every year or two. So in the 49th episode of the Story Behind series, let's talk about how and why Google failed so spectacularly at social apps. Thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video and for giving the first 500 people who sign up using the link in the description 2 months of premium access for free. Quick timeline first. Here are all of Google's attempts at building messaging and calling apps, and here are their attempts at building social media networks. And as the internet historians among you might point out, none of these ever became truly popular, except for maybe Google Plus as a meme for how not to build a social media app. But still, this timeline shows us two things very clearly. First, it is apparent that Google's failure is not for the lack of trying. They have tried and failed again and again at both. And second, in hindsight, it becomes very obvious just how late Google was to every major social trend, like social media, for example. After years of fumbling around with side projects like Orkut and Google+, they finally joined the fight in earnest in 2011 with their Facebook competitor, Google+. Problem is, Facebook was 7 years old at that point, and even Twitter was 5. Google Plus launched the same year as Snapchat, which ushered in a whole new generation of social media, one focused entirely on smartphone users, AR stickers, and spontaneous self-destructing video content, while Google Plus was still trying to emulate Facebook from a generation ago. Google was also late to take messaging seriously. Its first quote-unquote real smartphone-focused chat product was Hangouts after they finally unbundled it from Google Plus in 2013. But you know who had beaten them to this market by then? That's right, everyone. WhatsApp, Viber, iMessage, WeChat, everyone launched dedicated high-quality mobile-first services years before Google, and even Facebook realized that they had to make Messenger a standalone app in 2011. Google was then also late to the insanely popular stickers, to advanced stuff like money transfer that is really popular in Asia with WeChat and Line and stuff, and also to the latest big messaging trend, which is encrypted messaging. They were even spectacularly late to business communications. Slack started kicking everybody's butts in 2013, and even Microsoft was faster to react to that threat than Google when it launched Microsoft Teams in 2016. Think about that. When Microsoft with its enterprise solutions is faster at product development than you know you are too slow. This all points to the fact that Google's leadership doesn't really have a strong vision for social apps. It seems like their whole corporate culture and the DNA of the company is fine-tuned to build utilities and tools. Google Search, Gmail, Maps, Docs, Drive, Chrome, Chrome OS, Google Assistant, all of their successful in-house solutions are all tools and utilities. They help you get stuff done, not socialize and build communities. Google's only halfway successful social platform is YouTube, which they acquired, not built in-house, and even so, to me it seems like YouTube has succeeded despite its social features rather than because of them. They are weak and constantly seem to be lagging behind competitors like Twitch. And without any real visionary leaders in this domain that can predict the next social trends, the company is always running after the last social trends that somebody else introduced to the market, and by the time they catch up with that, the market has moved on to the next thing, they're too late again, they haven't built a user base, so they kill the service, and they start from zero, which starts this whole cycle again and again. And this concept of just killing an app that didn't work and starting again, I think it's a very popular Silicon Valley style startup strategy. And I think it can work for Google's sort of bread and butter products like tools and utilities, because there you just kill it, didn't work, you try again, you do it until you find the right usable product. But it is extremely risky with social apps, because the value of a social app is its network of users. And with each reboot, Google loses their network and has to start from scratch again. With users who know that the likelihood of Google just killing that service again in a year or two is, historically speaking, around 100%. So with each reboot, building up this network becomes harder and harder, and one failure kind of snowballs into another. But okay, let's leave Google's past behind and let's focus on what they have on the market right now. At present, they seem to have abandoned social media altogether, as they recently shut down Google+ without a replacement, and they are simplifying their messaging portfolio to 4 apps. One chat and video calling app for consumers, and a similar pair of apps for business users as well. And you know what? While there's no telling how long these will be alive, at least that's a clear portfolio, and 3 of the 4 apps actually have a unique value proposition that I think I could get behind. Their consumer chat solution, called RCS, is not just yet another messaging service, but rather a communication protocol built to eventually replace SMS. Instead of messages traveling through a Google server and being tied to a Google account, they actually go through mobile carriers, just like SMS messages do. If one of the parties has a carrier or a phone that doesn't support the protocol, then the system will fall back to just sending a regular SMS. But if all is in order, messages behave just like internet chat. They don't have character limits, they can contain stickers and pictures, they don't cost extra like SMS messages do, and so on. Google has gotten a ton of carriers and phone makers to get on board with the system. Apparently even Apple is rumored to consider rolling out RCS to iPhones. And SMS is certainly due for a refresh, but I can't help but feel like this is once again coming years too late. I mean, there's certainly some parts of the world like the US that still rely heavily on SMS and text messaging. But in the majority of the world, like basically everyone I know here in Europe or in Asia, where I lived for a few years, nobody under the age of 50 still uses SMS for basically anything. I mean, this graph shows the number of SMS messages sent in Germany, for example, which doesn't look great for RCS, and people around the world are pretty tied into their chat ecosystems. Encrypted chat apps, for example, offer more security, and services like WeChat offer superior functionality to RCS. Plus, with so many players involved, I find it really hard to imagine that RCS would manage to keep up with the pace of innovation that other social apps are seeing and stay relevant for long. But okay, RCS is still a more interesting solution than just yet another Google chat app that nobody would use. Now, where I think Google does have a real chance at a comeback is with business communication tools. After all, these tools, these chat and video calling apps for businesses, they are as close to being tools and utilities as social apps can be. So I trust that Google can execute on these. And while their apps came way too late, they have one huge benefit. They come for free with G Suite, Google's competitor to Microsoft Office, which is very popular among small and medium-sized companies. These companies typically pay for G Suite and a dedicated chat app, usually Slack, but if Google can deliver a viable competitor to Slack for free with G Suite, then I bet many G Suite companies will be happy to switch over. It's one less bill to pay and one less service for IT departments to manage, which is a very attractive proposition. Microsoft was able to play the same trick with its own Slack competitor, Microsoft Teams, which has apparently seen fantastic adoption among companies using Microsoft Office. The only question that remains to be seen is whether Google will really put in the required amount of work and effort into developing and promoting these tools. Hangouts Chat has pretty terrible ratings on Google's own Play Store, which is in stark contrast to the overwhelmingly positive ratings both Microsoft Teams and Slack have on the platform. And the only real report I could find on adoption rate claims that Hangouts is actually losing market share in IT companies to both Teams and Slack. I don't think the survey can be seen as 100% representative of the world at large, but it suggests that Google has a bunch of marketing and sales activities to do if it wants Hangouts to be adopted by organizations worldwide. But if they really get behind these ideas, they could end up with real workplace communication tools and a replacement for SMS. Not bad. Now, this part of the video is where I'd usually come up with some sort of clever narrative twist and lead you unknowingly into the sponsored spot or something like that. And I thought I had it really figured out for this week, right? I was going to build a chatbot. You know, it's relevant to this video. I found a really nice course on Skillshare for it. It's pretty easy to do, and everything was going well until I figured I was spending like 4 hours just trying to get through privacy policies and GDPR certification and company registration developer. I just gave up. So instead, let me recommend this Skillshare class to you, which is completely unrelated, but the best damn class I've seen on Skillshare yet. It is a hilariously entertaining design masterclass from Aaron Draplin himself that I can recommend to everyone, from design pros to people who just want to know what goes into really good design. The first 500 people to sign up with the link in the description get 2 months of premium access for free and can watch any one of Skillshare's over 25,000 courses on everything from design to software development, video editing, marketing, and much, much more for free. The first 500 people to sign up with the link in the description get 2 months of premium access for free and can watch any one of Skillshare's over 25,000 courses on everything from design to software development, video editing, marketing, and much more. So use the link below to sign up, and I'll see you in the next one.